by myself, it won't work. Lord, I need your help. Yes, Lord.
You have self-control. Use it. Time and place for everything. This is neither the time nor the place.
Everyone by their heads, close their eyes. Dear Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all the blessings you store upon us. Lord, please bless the sermon. Please, Lord, let us all be blessed. These things we ask. Amen. Amen.
So today, May 7th, 9th. Today, May 9th, the junior class is doing chapel. You know, our class is hated by some teachers. Our class is doing chapel today, and our class is known for a lot of things. A lot of good things, you know. We have all those basketball players, and we have Tyrell, who's gonna be doing my speech today.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, bro. And I was blessed by his parents. That's it.
Good morning, India. Good morning, India. Before I start, you know, I'm a little bit distressed, you know, because I have the utmost respect for God, because it's been too good. And I know how He undergirds us, watches over us, protects us, provides for us every day. Every morning His mercy is brand new. And so I refuse to come to a place where His name is disrespected. And I'm going to ask you guys, the antics that you do, as the people beside you right here, the way you carry on in worship is inappropriate. It reflects where you are spiritually. I'm going to ask you to stop because God shall be played with. It's my task to introduce this people for the hour. I met Tara since he came to Northeastern Academy as a freshman. I've watched him grow. I've watched him make mistakes. Watched him learn from them. Watched him grow as a musician, as an artist, as a student, as a human being. And it is my pleasure to ask him to come forward and give to you what God has placed on his heart. Can y'all hear me? Y'all hear me? Yeah. Cycles, cycles, cycles. Just like a menstrual. Let me rephrase that. Cycles, cycles, cycles. Tattoo that in your mental. Does anybody
anybody understand what a cycle is? Does anybody know what a cycle is? You know, what's a cycle? Repeating the same thing over and over again. So we all have a cycle. We all go through cycles, even our ancestors. For example, Samson. Everybody knows the story of Samson and Delilah. Of course, Samson, he made mistakes. He went through his trials, and yes, Samson did go through his trials. The mic isn't working.
No battery. No battery.
Yeah, so Samson did go through his cycles, right? So, of course, Samson was a Nazarite. So, in the Nazarite vow, you have to refrain from drinking of any fruit from the vineyard, any wine, any strong drink. No razor shall come to the head. You have to make it locked, right? And you should not be in the presence of a dead body, right? Hello? So let me say the Nazarite vow again. So no drinking of any strong wine or liquor or any fruit from the vineyard. No razor shall come to the head. You have to make your hair lock. And you cannot be in the presence of a dead body. And now I'm going to ask Gary to explain how to reverse the Nazarite vow. If you are in the presence of a dead body, or if you drink any wine.
Hey guys. The scripture reading is taken from Numbers 6, 9 to 12. And it says, "And if any man die very suddenly by him, and he hath defiled the head of his consecration, then he shall shave his head in the day of his cleansing. On the 7th day shall he shave it. And on the 8th day he shall bring 2 turtles or 2 young pigeons to the priest, to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall offer one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering, and make an atonement for him, for that he sinned by the dead, and shall he hallow his head that same day. And he shall consecrate unto the Lord the days of his separation, and shall bring a lamb of the first year for a trespass offering. But the days that were before shall be lost, because his separation was defiled."
Hello? All right, so the devil is working. I had a dream that God was here while I was giving this sermon. Can we make that a reality? Can we make that a reality? Yeah. So, you guys heard how to reverse the Nazarite vow if you defile the vow, right? So, basically, this is Samson's story. So, Samson, he was very, very strong, he big up in chest and everything, and he was in love with women, right? He was very, very strong. He fought against the Philistines many times, right? And won, right? So one day, he went to Timnah, where he was forbidden to go because that was like a branch off of the Philistines, right? So he went to Timnah, right? And he saw a woman that pleased him. So as soon as he saw her, he went back to his parents and said, "Bring me her," because he wants to make her his wife, right? So, they argued with him. They said, "Why her? She's of the Philistines, which are uncircumcised and unclean,"
right? They're not of our ways. Why her? Right? Because she pleased him. Right? So days passed and Samson went back to Timnah. Right? And he found himself in a vineyard. Right? So he was in a vineyard where that's against the vow. Right? So that was against the vow. Against the Nazarite vow. Alright? So next. So it was against the Nazarite vow. He was already in the vineyard. That's one. Right? Two, a lion came upon him. Right? And it was a young lion. So Samson dealt with the lion as if it was a kid and slayed the lion. Right? He went back. Right? Didn't tell his parents at all what had happened. Right? So then he went back to Timnah, right? And found himself with the lion carcass and honey and the swarm of bees in his mouth. So he touched the carcass, took the hive out of the lion's mouth. So that's about the two broken, touched the dead body, right? All this time, Samson never cleansed himself. He never went through the process of shaving his locks, never went to the priest and slayed the turtle, nothing like that, right? Never told his parents anything like that. But when he found the women of Timnah, right? When he found the women of Timnah, they had a feast. And Samson gave the Philistines a riddle. So I'll tell you the riddle now. The riddle was, out of the eater came forth meat, and out of the strong came forth something sweet. Right? So Samson gave the Philistines 7 days to answer his riddle. And on the 7th day, they were still baffled. They didn't know what to do. So basically, they pressed his wife and asked her to ask him for the riddle. So she went to him. She mourned. She was like, "Oh, why don't you tell me the riddle? You're supposed to love me, right? What's going on? Why won't you tell me the riddle?" Samson said, "I haven't even told my parents. Why would I tell you?" So she mourned even more and said, "Thou must not love me." Right? So his heart ached for her. So he eventually told her the riddle. And then she told the Philistines. Because the Philistines had threatened her that they would burn down her father's house and her house. So the Philistines, the bet was merely just 30 robes and 30 garments, right? So they came back to Samson. You know, they were happy. They was like, I got the riddle. I got it for you, right? So the answer to the riddle is, what is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion, right? So Samson was like, I only told one person the answer to the riddle. So he said, if you guys hadn't plowed my effort, you guys wouldn't have understood the riddle. Not at all. So that day, the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he slayed 30 of their men and took their robes and gave them back to them. That was it. Right? So after that, Samson, he dropped his wife and gave it to his next man, right? Next of kin, right? So, because he couldn't trust her. So after that, he went and found a brothel and slept with a prostitute, right? There, the men of the Philistines surrounded the place. And they just waited till he came out. Samson didn't even care. He just burst through the doors and carried the gates all the way up, and nobody could strike him. Nobody could strike him, right? So then, this is where he found his Delilah, right? So, he found his Delilah, and, you know, it was a setup. Delilah had asked him, oh, what is the source of thy strength? Bless you. Delilah had asked him, what is the source of thy strength? He said, I haven't told anyone. Read in the Riot Act, thou must not love me, for thy do not tell me thy secret to thy mightiest strength. Right? So Samson told him, this is the first time. If thou bind me with 7 whips that were never dried, then I shall be weak as another man. She said, okay. While he was sleeping, she binded him with the whips and called upon the Philistines. He broke free and sent them away. That's one time. Second time, she said, thou must not love me because you just lied. Right? You mocked me. For you mocked me. Right? For every time Samson gets strong, it says in the Bible, the Spirit came onto him. Right? So if he had told Delilah that God is the source of his strength, she would have never got to him. The Spirit would have never been removed from him. God would have still been with him. Right? So that night, his eyes were gouged out. He was tied to pillars, right? And mocked. To the point where he cried upon God and said, I'm sorry. For he bled, he was blind, he was as weak as any other man, but he called upon God and asked him, let the rocks cry out and let me die with the Philistines. Right? So, Samson finally reflected at the last moment. Right? So, what was Samson's mistake? He didn't reflect, and he got caught in devil's cycles. His cycle was that he lusted after many women. See, the devil, he learns from your mistakes and knows what you like and don't like. So he will trap you in these cycles. Let me say that again. He will trap you in these cycles. Right? Yeah. So many of you guys walk upon us, and we get trapped in cycles every day. We get trapped in financial cycles, investment cycles, friendship cycles, relationship cycles. God will send you the same. The devil will send you the same set of friends. And you're like, didn't I just deal with these type of people? Didn't I just, get over this? He'll have you trapped in cycle upon cycle upon cycle, where you just feel like you can't deal with it anymore, and you say, let the rocks cry out. So, you see, when Samson was inside the vineyard now, have you guys ever thought, what was the lion doing in a vineyard?
No. It was a setup.
The devil put it there.
It was a setup, bro. Tell him.
In the Bible, the devil is described as a roaring lion. See, the devil is around you 24/7. You guys maybe know it or not. And he may not be able to touch you, but he can touch the things around you. Same thing he did with Job. Right? Touch everything around him, but God said you cannot touch it. Right? So, God let the devil allow the devil to present himself as a lion. Right? So that he can trap him in his cycle. So that he hoped Samson would learn from his mistakes. Right? So, just because you were put in a situation doesn't mean you belong there.
Say it again, bro.
Just because the lion was in the vineyard doesn't mean he belonged there. Just because Samson was in the vineyard does not mean he belongs there. He tried to open Samson's eyes, but from then he was already blind. I always say, you may be a victim of your circumstance, but that doesn't mean you have to become a product of your situation. You can always rise to the occasion. People may use your past as a weapon, but what about your praise? Praise is a ministry, right? Right? So I don't use that as a weapon. We use our past to defile us and bring us down. Well, if we use our praise as our weapon, everybody would be strong. Everybody would be wearing the whole armor of God.
Say it again. Say it again, bro. They didn't hear you. They didn't hear you, bro. Speak up.
I said, if we use our praise as our weapon, we will be clothed in the whole armor of God.
Yeah.
I just encourage you guys to use your praise as a weapon, so you guys can rise to the occasion and move forward and step back. Because we are shackled every day. The devil tries to bring us down. The devil tries to trap us in our cycles, but we always need to break our cycle because God is the answer to every cycle. He's the answer to every prayer. He's the answer to every moment in your life when you feel down.
Come on, bro.
You may be shackled, but God can break those shackles. God can break those cycles. God can turn your whole life around.
Yeah.
Can everybody say today, I'm not going in cycles? I didn't hear you. Can you guys say, I'm not going in cycles?
I'm not going in cycles.
Now, what does that mean to you? Okay. Joe, say it.
Yeah, Gerald? Yeah.
Break all your bad habits.
Okay.
Learn from your mistakes. God is my answer to everything.
It's good to break your bad habits. It's good to learn from your mistakes before the devil already does. Because he'll trap you in those cycles and use them against you. And you feel like you cannot win. You feel like it's going to last forever. You feel like the rocks, just let the rocks cry out. But remember, God can break every cycle. The quintet was supposed to sing, but Joshua Boyce is in his AP finals.
Oh.
Right? AP testing. So he wasn't able to sing with us today. So I want us to meditate over a song that has touched my heart and inspired me for this sermon.
Yep.
So would you mind closing your eyes and meditating with me?
Sing, bro. There you go.
Can we all close our eyes and bow our head? So we think. Say, I'm not going in cycles. I'm not going in cycles. Say, I'm gonna break these cycles. I'm not going in cycles. Didn't I conquer this last year? Tell me what I missed. 'Cause
'cause I feel that it's coming out back again. Must be something I ain't. Some salt, some show, some pain. The devil wants to extend the game. Free throws. When it ends, he wants to make a sequel. But if he has another chance, he feels like he can take my joy, my peace, my faith. See the devil, he learns from your mistakes, even if you don't. That's why I'm not going in cycles. I'm not going in cycles. Say I'm gonna break these cycles, yeah, cycles. Say we're not going in cycles. Say we're not going in cycles. Say I'm gonna break these cycles, cycles. Say there is power in the name of Jesus. Say there is power in the name of Jesus. Say there is power in the name of Jesus to break every cycle, to break all these cycles. Say there is power in the name of Jesus. Say there is power in the name of Jesus. Say there is power in the name of Jesus to break every cycle, to break all the cycles.
Show me your face. Come fill this space. My world needs you.